But thanks for doing it as well, man. I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Sure, yeah.
How did your sort of music journey start?
I mean, I started playing guitar as a teenager, just needed something to do besides sports, and joined my first band when I graduated high school. I just moved to LA instead of going to college and figured it would be a good way to meet people, and it's just been such a fun thread to pull. There's lots of great community here, and it's been a really nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, did you move to LA as a teenager?
Yeah, I grew up just like 40 minutes south of LA in Redondo Beach. It's just like a coastal town. Um, so as soon as I had my license, I was coming up to LA and going to shows and stuff. So yeah,
What,
just
see, being so young in the creative city like that, did that help shape your like sound and stuff?
I don't know if I was that aware of that. I definitely it took me a minute to like find cool music, and I was an only child, so I didn't have like the sibling influence, so that there was just this like yeah, kind of steady progress, but I was never like aware of how cool it was. I think I was just like kind of angsty about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the music scene like there? Because obviously we've got like places like London and stuff. So there's like little everywhere's got like music on and stuff. Is it the same sort of vibe in LA?
Sure, yeah. I'd say the vibes are really similar. There's so many different like genres happening and different like niches of like scenes and people, and it's there's something for everybody for sure.
Is it? Does it ever feel like overwhelming or anything being somewhere like that with your music?
It did back in the day because I think when you're first starting out, there's like this, you want to be present, you want to be meeting people, you want to be out and about. But having been here for over a decade, I feel like all the footwork I put in of like going to every show and kind of being hyper present, now I can more so go out just like when I feel like going out. It's not like I push myself every night to do something. It's, I'm very happy like chilling and doing my thing and then, you know, getting into the shows when I feel called to. So it's I think there's like an ebb and flow to it. But you could be busy every night if you want to be. There's so much happening.
Yeah, it's cool. Do you know what? It's a bit of a weird moment for me this as well because I was like I used to read a magazine called Q magazine,
Oh,
and that's how I discovered you. So it was like I don't know, maybe whenever August was out. What was that about 2017?
yeah, yeah, around then,
And
yeah.
I listened to that album so much. So it was like it's quite cool now I'm chatting to you because I love that album so much. But then it hopefully opened the door to me. I've listened to a lot more of you now because I thought, and it's just great. I love the way your music is. Like it's great.
Thanks. Oh, that's
There was
awesome.
what was the song I listened to the other day? Is it Clay Pigeons?
Oh, sure, yeah, with Steve
I thought
Gunn.
that sort of reminded me a bit of. I'm going to probably massacre her name to be fair, but it's Joan Baez or Joan Baez. I got a little bit
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
vibe
Joan
from that.
Baez is yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
totally.
love that.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think it's originally a Blaze Foley song or John Prine. I can't remember who wrote it, but yeah, Steve and I did that. We just did that cover over email during the pandemic. We like just sent it back and forth to each other to like record.
That's quality. I love it because I love
Yeah.
that your songs feel quite sort of quite intimate and like a bit unguarded. Like, is that do you aim for that sort of vibe or do you just do what you feel?
Yeah, I think it comes out quite naturally. It's interesting because like most people, really struggle with vulnerability, but music is a nice area to like explore, going out of my comfort zone with it. And I think people relate to it so much because we all have that common struggle of just like, we want to be seen, but it's also our biggest fear. And like, there's just a lot that comes along with figuring out how to do that in like a way that feels okay. So, I mean, it's been a nice area to push myself. Yeah.
Do you find it hard being vulnerable in your music or has it been a good
In,
outlet
in
for you?
in music, not so much. I mean, making mistakes on stage, pouring my heart out on stage, it feels very correct. There's like a rhythm that I've found with it that's really special. I think it's something I'm trying to adapt into my real life more so because I think there's just something about it being maybe this like performative persona that feels, it's like when people do drag and it's kind of these parts of their personality that they're afraid to share get amplified, and it's like this, how dare I be this person, you know what I mean? Like, so there's like, yeah, there's like maybe like a more extreme version of myself that I put into my music that Like I actually am, but it's hard to like carry through my whole life,
Yeah,
you
it's like a
know?
good outlet for getting yourself out there.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you see when I've got to ask you this to be fair? How do when you make mistakes? How because I DJ, right? See when I make mistakes or something goes wrong, I absolutely flap and panic, and like and sometimes it'll be something simple like I just have like the other week I couldn't get my speakers working, and I was
Oh,
panicking around flapping. I just hadn't turned them on with the little switch on the side, but because I couldn't figure it out, I was flat. Do you get like that when you make mistakes, or do you just can you just ride through it?
I mean, nowadays I ride through it really nicely, but when you first start putting yourself out there, I think there's this, you really don't want to mess up because you don't know what that's like yet. So falling down is much more detrimental. And I remember beating myself up for weeks over like a vocal crack or, something I messed up on guitar that only I would notice. You know what I mean? Like being really hard on yourself. But as I've gotten older, I think that people love seeing mistakes because they love seeing people rebound from them. We need that example. So it's nice to do that, in your public facing life because people need the example of just like you're gonna fall down, you're gonna mess up, but you can bounce back and it'll be all the better. And I think it's very human. So it's nice for people to again witness something human. No one, perfectionism is, a lot of times I think this like maybe what's the word like it's like it's a goal that's like um not realistic, and so you're like yeah, you're seeking something that doesn't exist and is in fact kind of boring. So I think mistakes are just this like really beautiful unifier of like we're all human. You came here to see something real. I messed up, but here I am cruising along again. Like we hit a bump together, but now we're cruising. It's
Yeah.
it's always gonna happen. Yeah.
Do you get that with, do you know when you put your music out as well? Do you notice, do you try and when you put a recorded song out, do you try and put it out perfect or do you leave little mistakes in that as well? Because I like when music's got like little bits of mistakes and stuff in them. I think
Yeah, I
it sounds
mean,
better.
there's always going to be like reflection of the moment in a recording, which I love, Like even the beginning of August, the very first song, there's that moment where the tape kind of like, and that was just something that Ty and I noticed, and it was just like, oh, what a lovely little accident. Let's leave that in. It was like the perfect way to start, and then you hear him say rolling, and it's that wasn't planned. That was just a happy accident. So there's always going to be little mistakes in there.
Do you know what? That August album, is it Shuffling Stones, the song?
Oh, sure,
There
yeah.
was a lyric, I think it said, oh, what is your name or something? It doesn't matter or something. I love that. I don't know why, but I used to love that lyric. Like,
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that comes from I wrote that song walking around New York and going into a record store and like the music that was playing, my thought behind that line was like, I could ask what this is, but I'm just gonna enjoy it. Like what's the name of it? It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna take it in and enjoy it.
see, looking back at your earlier releases, like, how do you feel like you've sort of matured as a songwriter now, like compared to your earlier stuff?
I mean, I think I'm elaborating on a similar theme that I really enjoy being like a voice of encouragement for people. I think we just need as much of a reminder to keep going as possible, and that we're doing okay, and that change is okay, and that we can like evolve together. And I think as I get older, I'm just more comfortable with change myself. So maybe the message gets a little bit clearer. Maybe I don't know, I think there's been growth sonically in terms of just like being better acquainted with recording in general and being able to like better voice what I want from an engineer. So I think just like my communication's gotten better. So the communication I'm able to do through the songs gets maybe a little clearer or something. Yeah.
What? I said you're in a band as well. I didn't know you were in a band, but when I was reading up on you, it said you're in a band as well. What were you in the band? Were you the singer or?
Yeah, it was a band called Feels, and it was a four-piece band, and I sang and played guitar. Um and yeah, it was great. It was kind of a more like punk indie kind of vibe, and
Yeah.
we were a band for 10 years. We had a good run.
Did you find it difficult transitioning to a solo artist from the band when you first done
No,
that?
it was nice because I had always had solo music, but it doesn't. I brought songs to Feels, but a lot of them were not appropriate. It was just so mellow. So it was nice to find an outlet for that stuff. And yeah, people really enjoyed it once I kind of let it out of the box. So it was nice to see that.
Have you brought any sort of your punk inspirations over to your music now, like
Oh
from
yeah.
them days?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started playing solo, I played electric guitar for a long time because I was really afraid of kind of being pinned in as like a singer-songwriter. I think when a girl with an acoustic guitar shows up, a lot can be assumed before she even utters a word. You know what I mean? So I kind of held on to this belief that it had to be really tough. And when someone would say this set was beautiful, I was like, no, it was cool and tough. Like I was really resistant to that label, but as I've evolved with it, I think I've embraced the fact that I make beautiful music, but I think that all music is inherently punk to an extent. There's obviously like a huge theme of rebellion, I think especially these days, and just in the lifestyle that I live as a musician, it feels like being on the fringes of things is just kind of a natural way to embrace the energy of, anarchy and rebellion and feeling like you're your own authority. It's punk as hell. Yeah.
Who's sort of been your biggest inspirations in your music?
I did a covers record that I released in, I think it was 2023, and that was kind of I'm gonna do another covers record. I want to do as many as I can. I love doing covers, but that had like a good spread of influences. There was like Nick Drake and Sybil Bear and Vashti Bunyan and the Velvet Underground, and then contemporaries like Ty Segall and OCs and yeah, I mean, I'm so inspired by just good music in general. I think I love good tones, like something like Stereolab or Portishead or
Oh yeah,
Air,
of
like
course.
just yeah, kind of that like just what you feel drawn to sonically is so interesting. But to this day, I feel like I'm discovering so much. I just started DJing again, and I forgot how much I loved it. I did it all the time in my 20s, but it's been really fun to get back to. Because just, curating a vibe is the funnest thing ever, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
so
I
cool.
DJ'd last night. I DJ'd. It was like a staff party for like a supermarket. I didn't think it was going to be very good at first, but it was really good in the end. It was all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. They went at the start. It was a bit no one. It looked like nobody was going to turn up, but it ended up getting really busy. I got to do like a lot of '90s sort of dance music as well, so
Oh, my
it was good
favorite.
fun.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that stuff. There's nothing better to
Well,
dance to, in
weirdly,
my
it was
opinion.
'90s dance, and then there was one person that just wanted loads of Lady Gaga. I was
You're like,
like,
yes, yes, ma'am.
yeah. It's, do you think, see, with like your style of music, with your folk and stuff, do you think like solitude's sort of important with it, like being on your own and things, or can you like
Yeah,
sort of like,
yeah, I'd say so. I work really well on my own. I think there's like a very nice formula that I have in relationship with myself that it's really lovely to feel like how that relationship grows as I nurture it more because a lot of times I've had to live with roommates, and for the last 5 years I've lived alone, and during the pandemic I lived alone for the first time, and it's just amazing to see how well I exist with myself. It's really fun. But my challenge these days is to rely on people a little bit more. I grew up like the child of an addict, so I have that classic like I have to do it or it won't get done right. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm trying to learn to trust people and give people more of like the project so that they can show me that they have it, and they totally do. People are very capable, and so it's nice to give that conditioning a little bit of grace and just be like, we can do it. We can hand this over. It's gonna be okay.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
love working alone. I absolutely love it. I love traveling alone. I love, yeah, I'm very good on my own.
See, I like being on my own, but I hate traveling alone. I like to be with someone when I'm
Uh,
traveling. It's like, I get really bored, so I just chat to people and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I like my time with myself. But I always imagine with like folk singers and stuff, it's good to be on your own to get everything down and stuff. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's good.
It's nice.
What do
It's
you?
nice to be self-sufficient. Yeah,
Yeah, that it is. I'm a massive Bob Dylan fan, so I always imagine he was like a big loner and that back in the day. Like, yes.
totally.
What do you think about sort of like today's music scene, like the pace of it? Because I don't know if there's a lot of pressure on someone like yourself to like keep pumping stuff out, and you can't really take your time with it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think. I've gotten pretty good at like checking in with myself and noticing if the pressure's coming from outside or if it's coming from within, just kind of differentiating. I think that's important. Is it fear-based? Is it, inspiration-based? Just, trying to tell the difference. But I mean, I try not to beat myself up in the times when I'm not being super productive because there's other times when it's all I want to do and it feels super correct and I'm, in the flow of it. But I do other kinds of art. I do ceramics too and do I just started like tattooing, like there's just like all kinds of things that I like to get my hands into because I'm so lucky art is all I get to do. This has been my full-time job. I quit my day job in 2017 and I've just been, art's been supporting me ever since. So it's nice to find new ways to serve it, to so to speak. Like
Yeah, you got to keep pumping that music out as well because I love it. It's great.
yeah, and
Just
and
for me,
I
not for
love
anybody
really
else. I just want it
yeah
for me.
yeah. I'll keep it coming. I'll keep it coming.
How do you find the social media side of it? Because that plays a big part in music now, doesn't it?
Sure. I'm a big believer in doing something if it feels right. Like I don't always feel like being present in that space, but every once in a while, again, it'll feel super correct to go make a video or to post something. And a lot of times I'm posting something that I myself need to hear because I think at the moment collectively we're all kind of experiencing this like massive grief and witnessing the horrors that are happening in the United States and all over the world. Like it's just a lot to hold. So I like to pop up and just be that voice of like you're doing good or like just remember to take care of yourself, yada yada. And like but I think social media is one of those things where they're trying to convince us that it's so mandatory, and I don't think it is. I think if it feels good for you to do it, then by all means have a blast. But if it doesn't, like I don't think I think the energy of that like oh I have to do this comes through it and it won't be who know well who knows for me I just like to feel called to do it
You've got to
that's
enjoy it, ain't you? I think 'cause if you're not
yeah
enjoying it, you're not putting yourself into it. I think.
totally yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So I like I've chat to a lot of sort of newer artists that are just starting out and stuff. Have you got sort of any advice that they could take on board?
Oh my God. I mean, just be easy on yourself. And I think ultimately, um, it's supposed to be fun. Like this experience is just supposed to be about enjoying yourself. And especially if you embrace a life of creativity, you're actively fighting against darkness at all times. If you're approaching your life with creativity, whether it's like going to the grocery store or writing a song or making a painting or whatever, I think you're existing in kind of the lightest side of this experience. So I would just say remember that it's supposed to be about enjoyment and not necessarily obligation or pressure or someone else's version of success. Like figure out how you want to feel every day and just do whatever you can to create that environment for yourself. I think that's ultimately how we spend our lives. Do you I hate this kind of like I feel like stress is very rewarded in society. It's like you might even get a raise or you might not. Maybe you're going to stay in the same spot and just be stressed for no reason or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, I think just yeah, be easy on yourself and have a really good time
No,
because
I love
what
it.
the heck even is this?
Love it. What's next for you then?
I'm working on a lot of music. I have a record done, and then I'm working on another covers record and an instrumentals album, and just yeah, just chipping away and doing like a lot of collaborations have been happening, which is really nice. That's my first time. The record I just finished, I wrote with someone else, which I've never done before, and it's a very joyful record. So I'm excited to give that to the world because I think we need as much joy as we possibly can get right now,
Yeah,
just to keep
100%.
us afloat.
The world's a shit
And then,
tip.
and then I'll write another sad record after that. I'll get another.
Is there any sort of dream collaborations you like anyone you'd like to work with?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so many people here. I was just talking to my friend Nicole Lawrence. You might really like her music. She's a ripping guitar player
Yeah,
and such
send
a
me a
good.
link.
I will, yeah. She's amazing. I mean, I'm always Jessica Pratt is like the reason I play music solo. I would love to work with her. I'm a huge, just like Dreams of Grandeur. I'm a huge Bjork fan. I don't know if she,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be insane. But I mean, yeah, I've loved just like tapping into other perspectives in music. I think it's been a really nice experience and a really cool way to realize that there's like lots of different avenues and roads. It's not, it's not just your, kind of lane. There's just like so many different offshoots of what you can get involved in. It's really cool.
Ah, I see. Well, that's
Yeah.
it, really. That was it. Just a little chat. I enjoyed that.
I love it. Yeah.
Thanks for doing it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.